students. So first lesson in 12th standard chemistry. So metallurgy we have started. So almost we have finished more than 80% of this topic. So only one topic, that is thermodynamic principle of metallurgy, is left. So today I will take. So with this we can finish this lesson. So you side by side you have to learn, not only listening the class. So I hope that you are having the 12th standard book. Otherwise you can take the PDF and you can start to study. So side by side, we cannot expect the classes we can start from June. So better you can side by side. If one lesson is taught, means even we are taking 2 or 3 pages per day, isn't it? So if you are clear with that 2 or 3 pages every day, so it is not a burden to you. Okay. So side by side you have to study also. Spend time and you have to study. Okay. So already we have seen, once again I will repeat, then you can have the clear idea, isn't it? So first we have seen metallurgy, starting the difference between mineral and ore. So afterwards we have seen 3 important steps in metallurgical process: concentration of ore, extraction of crude metal, refining of crude metal. So when I am telling, you also can say along with me. So then it is, you can recall it easily. Okay. So concentration of ore will be done by gravity separation of hydraulic wash, froth flotation method, leaching method, and next one is, that is we have seen magnetic separation method. So next we have seen extraction of crude metal. It will be done by 2 steps, that is conversion of ores into oxide, and next step is the metal oxide should be converted into, that is reduced into metal by so many processes. So conversion of ores into oxides, it will be done by roasting and calcination. So next this metal oxide can be reduced to metals by smelting process, reduction by carbon, reduction by hydrogen, reduction by metal, auto reduction. So now this reducing agent selection only, it is done by thermodynamic principle and electrochemical principle. So already we have completed this electrochemical principle of metallurgy, isn't it? So today we are going to see thermodynamic for the selection of reducing agent. So we are selecting 2 principles. One is thermodynamic principle, the other one is electrochemical principle. So clear? So next we have seen 3rd step, that is refining of crude metal. So refining of crude metal, it will be done by liquefaction method, distillation method, zone refining method, electrolytic refining method, vapor phase method. This 5 methods also we have seen. Then we have seen the application and electrochemical principle of metallurgy. Under that we have seen Hall-Héroult process. So this we have completed. So with this today's topic we can finish the first lesson. Okay. So see, listen students. So today we are going to see about thermodynamic principle of metallurgy. Thermodynamic principle of metallurgy. Okay. So why we are using this principle? For the selection of reducing agent, for the reduction of metal oxides to metal. Okay. So this thermodynamic principle will be based on a diagram that is called as Ellingham diagram. Okay. So usually in thermodynamics we have studied the formula delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Okay. So is it clear students? So already we have studied. So Gibbs free energy change delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So listen. So here G is, delta G is change in free energy, delta H is change in enthalpy, delta S is change in entropy. So T is the temperature. Okay. So from this delta G value in thermodynamic principle, the diagram we are using, that is called as Ellingham diagram. So it's the name of a scientist, Ellingham. Okay. So in this diagram is based on this according to thermodynamics, change in free energy of any chemical equation is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So this delta G value is a measure of spontaneity of a reaction. So what's the meaning of spontaneity of a reaction? So whether the particular chemical reaction is feasible or not feasible, it will be measured in terms of this delta G. Okay. So we have studied already, if delta G value is equal to 0, such chemical reaction is called as equilibrium reaction. Next, the next case, if delta G value is greater than 0, that is positive value, such reaction is non-spontaneous. Is it clear, students? So next, if one more case is there, that is if delta G value is getting less than 0, that means it is getting a negative value. So we can say that reaction is spontaneous reaction. Okay. So delta G is a measure of spontaneity of a reaction. If delta G is equal to 0, that reaction is equilibrium reaction. If delta G is getting greater than 0, that meaning is positive, we can say such type of chemical reaction is non-spontaneous. The chemical reaction is not feasible. So if delta G is less than 0 or if it is getting negative value, so we can say the reaction is spontaneous, it is a feasible one. Is it clear? So next we can check. So this, from this delta G value and this equation, the relation between this Ellingham diagram is, so we are going to plot a graph. So in that graph, we are taking delta G in y-axis and T we are going to take in x-axis. Okay. So in short, we can say delta G versus T. The graph between delta G. The delta G is change in free energy in the formation of metal oxide versus temperature. The variation of change in free energy formation of metal oxides with the temperature is called as Ellingham diagram. Is it clear? What is Ellingham diagram? So Ellingham diagram, by using this simple, you can give the definition for Ellingham diagram. What is Ellingham diagram? So it's a variation of change in free energy of formation of metal oxides to the temperature. This is called as this graph will be Ellingham diagram. Okay. So see here. So delta G versus T, isn't it? So when you are drawing a graph, so like this. So what we have to take, delta G value should be taken in left hand side and temperature should be taken in right hand side. Is it clear? So delta G we are taking in y axis, temperature is taken in this x axis. Okay. So we are going to draw a graph. So this graph is for formation of metal oxide. For so many metals we are going to write. Okay. The variation of free energy with the temperature. So we can give the metal oxides here plot later. So before that, here for example, so usually here maybe we are plotting temperature 200, 400. Here it may be 1000, 400, 500. So like this, maybe it is given. Okay. So when you see the case of silver oxide and mercury oxide, they will be at the top of this. Okay. So the main observation we can show like this. If you are having the book, you can see in page number 11. Okay. So see here. So I have plotted a graph in page number 11. Those who are having the book, you can take page number 11 and you can see. So delta G I have plotted in y-axis. T temperature is given in x-axis. So I have drawn the graph for silver oxide, mercury oxides, for cuprous oxide, nickel, for so many metals. The oxide formation I have given, isn't it? So you can take screenshot those who are not having the book. Others refer your book in page number 11. Okay. So the main observations I will explain from this. Okay. So afterwards we can see the application and limitations of the Elingham diagram. So first observation is, so when you are seeing the plot of this graph for some of the metal oxides, the slope value. So see this equation. In this equation, this is the equation of straight line, isn't it? That is y equal to mx plus c. Okay. So here in y-axis we have delta G is equal to, take this like this, that is delta S T minus then plus delta H. Y equal to m, this is x plus c. Okay. So that is y is delta G and m slope is equal to minus delta S. Y intercept c is equal to delta H. Have you understand? So here, so when you are taking the slope is delta S, isn't it? So here y intercept c is delta H. Is it clear? So now we can see the observation one by one. There are 4 important observations are given from the Elingham diagram. The first case is for most of the metal oxide formation, so we are getting the slope value as positive. Okay, slope m value and delta S value we are getting as a positive value. Okay, so delta S, what is delta S? It is entropy, isn't it? So entropy definition already we have studied in thermodynamics. So it is a measure of randomness of the molecules of the system. Okay. So here formation of metal oxide means oxygen gas is consumed by the metal so that the metal is converted into metal oxide, isn't it? So we have drawn the graph for the formation of metal oxides. So if oxide formation must be there means the particular metal, it should consume the oxygen so that it is forming metal oxide. Okay. So maybe already we have studied in equilibrium reactions. So when compare with reactant side and product side. So if product side number of molecules are less than the number of reactant side means, so we can say entropy decreases in such process, isn't it? So why it is decreases? Because here we have seen reactant side metal is there, the particular metal maybe Mx plus oxygen, it is giving MO, isn't it? So 2 reactant molecules, oxygen is consumed by the metal, that's why it is forming metal oxide. Okay. So when it is consumed, we can expect number of gaseous molecules will be less when compared with the reactant side. Okay. So randomness, there is a possibility of decreasing in randomness of the molecule. So if there is decreasing in randomness of the molecule means automatically this delta S will become negative. Okay. So in this term delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So if delta S is negative, then this negative into this negative you are getting a positive value. So that delta G will be getting a positive value. So if delta G is positive, whether this reaction is spontaneous or not spontaneous? Not spontaneous. Is it clear, students? So what I have explained, the first observation is for most of the metal oxide, slope is getting a positive value. Why it is getting positive value? Because oxygen is consumed by the metal, so that number of molecules will be decreased, randomness will be reduced, so that delta S is getting negative value, so this minus into plus minus, so you are getting that value is positive. Is it clear? So this reaction we can say as spontaneous, not spontaneous. So second case is for when we are taking example as carbon. Okay. So a small, when you compare all the metal oxide formation, only for this carbon monoxide, carbon when it is oxidized to form carbon monoxide, for this reaction, so the slope must be like this. So what's the meaning of this? If you are drawing the graph like this, the slope will get the negative value, isn't it? So how it is negative value? So when you compare carbon with oxygen, there is a possibility of forming carbon monoxide. So in the case of carbon monoxide formation, so here oxygen gas is introduced along with the carbon, isn't it? So that you are getting carbon monoxide. Previous case we have seen oxygen is consumed, isn't it? So here, so by the formation of this carbon monoxide, so you are getting the slope value must be negative. The previous case we have seen slope is positive. Here slope is getting a negative value. That meaning formation of carbon monoxide is feasible one. Okay, formation of carbon monoxide is the stable. So stable, we can say carbon monoxide is more stable. So we can use carbon monoxide as a reducing agent for most of the metal oxides. So next, third case is as the temperature increases. So in this graph, when the temperature increases, so the graph will be, so when you are seeing this, you can understand. So when the temperature increases, the values delta G value becomes less negative or 0. Okay. So here you can see, okay. So when the temperature increases, when you are increasing the temperature, so it is getting less negative value or 0. So if it is less negative or 0, that also we can see here. So that at the top of the metal, silver, mercury, these type of metals can be reduced even without the reducing agent. Okay, no need of adding any reducing agent. The last case is the silver, mercury, such type of metals are produced or given at the top of the Ellingham diagram. Why it is given at the top of that Ellingham diagram is that meaning is they can undergo phase transition. So because of this phase transition, there is no need of any reducing agent. So simply by heating 600 to 700 Kelvin, these metal oxide can be reduced to metal. Is it clear? So we have discussed 4 cases. What are the 4 cases? So first case we have seen why the slope is getting the negative value. Okay, why we are getting the slope is negative value? Because so when oxygen is consumed by the metal, number of product molecules or decreases. So if the number of moles of product is decreases, means randomness will be decreased. So if the randomness is decreases, then automatically delta S is getting negative value. So that slope value is getting negative. Is it clear? So next case we have seen for this formation of carbon monoxide. So here when you see carbon monoxide formation, here the second case is slope is getting negative value. First case slope is positive, second case slope is negative. Why it is getting negative value? Because So in formation of carbon monoxide, when you are seeing the graph, only carbon monoxide is getting. So this graph is for carbon monoxide formation. From this I will explain. So here, so 1 mole of oxygen is consumed. So 1 mole of oxygen is consumed so that it is forming 2 moles of carbon monoxide. Okay. So why, for what I am giving the explanation? Second observation, that is why slope is getting negative value. Why we are getting the slope value as negative? Because when carbon combines with oxygen, it is forming carbon monoxide. Is it clear? So that meaning is 1 mole of oxygen gas is consumed. So here this carbon is a solid. So for calculation we used to take only gaseous particle, isn't it? So here this is a gas and this is a gas. So 1 mole of oxygen is consumed. It is forming 2 moles of carbon monoxide. That is randomness increases, isn't it? So if the randomness increases, we can expect delta S, entropy will be positive. So delta S is positive. So in this equation, delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S, isn't it? So here when delta S is getting positive value, so automatically this slope value must be negative. Is it clear, students? So two observations we have discussed. So next one we have seen why some of the metals, the metal oxide formation, some of them at the top of this Elingham diagram, silver, mercury and all. Okay. So why means at a particular temperature, even 600 to 700 Kelvin, they can undergo phase transition. No need of a higher temperature. Above 1000 Kelvin only we can expect this carbon monoxide formation. But even at 600 to 700 Kelvin, these metals can be form as oxides. They can oxidize easily and they can form oxides. Okay. So why we are doing because at a particular temperature itself, they can undergo phase transition. What is phase transition? So three phases: solid phase, liquid phase and gaseous phase. So melting, evaporation, these are all example for phase transition. If it is melting means solid phase can be changed into liquid phase, that is called as melting. Evaporation means, so liquid phase when it is changed into gaseous phase, that is called as evaporation, isn't it? So such type of phase transition they can undergo easily even at a small temperature. So that the silver, mercury are placed at the top of this Elingham diagram. Okay. So one more case we have discussed, isn't it? So at when you are increasing the temperature, so when you are increasing the temperature, so delta G value, see here. So here maybe the temperature is increases, means here it may be 0 and here it is positive value. So here we used to write from maybe 1200, minus 1200, so minus 1000. So minus like this, when you are decreasing, the value must be here 0, here it is getting a positive value. So when you have drawn a graph like this, so here when the temperature increases, some of the metal oxides, they are having maybe less negative or positive value of delta G, isn't it? That meaning is they are, when compared at lower temperature, they are stable. So afterwards we cannot expect, they can decompose easily. Okay. So usually, so why we are selecting as reducing agent means, so at lower temperature itself the particular metal is getting oxidized, otherwise reduce means no need of any reducing agent. But if the temperature is high, we need to supply more temperature for the reduction of a particular metal oxide, means it's the costlier one. So to reduce the cost only we are selecting a reducing agent. Is it clear? So for this only we are drawing this Ellingham diagram. To reduce the cost of that particular process, we are using the reducing agent. So here, see here. So when the graph is like this, as the temperature, one more observation from the Ellingham diagram, as the temperature increases, this delta G value will be less negative or 0. Okay. So when it is less negative or 0 means we can say this is not stable. Okay. But when it is delta G is negative, that's a spontaneous process. So here metal oxide formation is stable. Above this value, after a particular temperature, decomposition will be started. Okay, up to this oxide formation, if the temperature increases, that notes that it is becomes less stable. Less negative or 0 means if, at which temperature the particular metal oxide formation is getting 0 or less negative value in delta G, that becomes they are less stable. Then we can expect decomposition is possible. Okay. So these are the 4 observations in Ellingham diagram. So now we can see the application. Okay. So important application from this Ellingham diagram is, this is important because so in book back also some of the questions are given. Okay. So in book back, why it is given? If this Ellingham diagram is thorough, means even whatever the questions they have asked, we can write the answer. Okay. So already we have seen for the reduction of metal oxide, we can use carbon monoxide or hydrogen, or a metal is used for the reduction by carbon, reduction by hydrogen, reduction by metal. We have studied, isn't it? So for which metal oxide we have to use carbon? For which metal oxide we have to use a particular metal? So that selection of reducing agent can be done using this Ellingham diagram. This is the application of the Ellingham diagram. So first I will give, so here temperature and all, so here delta G value, it is not marked correctly, but you have to learn in page number 11 when you are seeing, you can see. So I am giving like this, maybe. This graph is for aluminium. Okay. So aluminium oxide and chromic oxide. Okay. When you see the graph, this is the first application. When you see the graph, this chromic oxide formation is just above that of aluminium oxide, isn't it? The graph of the line, straight line of this chromic oxide is just above that of aluminium oxide. The meaning is the chromic oxide can be reduced by aluminium metal. The graph, the plot, the metal oxide which are present above in this diagram are less stable. Okay. So those are present at the below this value, they are more stable. So when you are comparing chromium and aluminium, we can expect aluminium oxide as aluminium is more stable. So that this aluminium can be used as a reducing agent for the reduction of chromic oxide. Have you understand? So why we are called this aluminium is used as a reducing agent for chromic oxide? Because from the Ellingham diagram, an important application that is given that, so the graph which is present at above part can be reduced by the metal which is placed at the lowest part. Okay, so just below or here, whatever may be. Okay, the above part which plot is there, so this metal oxide can be reduced by the metal which is present at the lowest part. So is it clear, students? So we can from this graph we can say that chromic oxide can be reduced by aluminium. Is it clear? So next, second application, it is given for carbon. Okay. So carbon, so when you are drawing this graph, so here and all maybe so like this. So metal oxides formation is given. So these lines are cut by this carbon monoxide. Okay. So question is, so at almost we can say this temperature around 1000 Kelvin. Okay. So there are, we can split into two parts, below 1000 Kelvin and above 1000 Kelvin. Okay. So we can use carbon or coke as a reducing agent above 1000 Kelvin. Why? So see here, above 1000 Kelvin, this carbon monoxide line is below that of all these metals. Okay. So we have said already, the plot which is, the graph which is at the lowest part can reduce. That's a stable metal. So this stablest one can reduce the other metal which are present at the highest part. Okay. So upper part, these are metal oxide formations are upper part. So these metal oxides can be reduced by carbon. At which temperature? So it is possible only at above 1000 Kelvin. So when you are seeing this chromic oxide, so maybe this temperature, that is maybe 400 Kelvin. So below this 400 Kelvin, so this line is just above. So it is not stable, isn't it? So it is less stable. Why? So this graph is above of this. So we cannot use it. But same way here aluminium also. When you are seeing, so at this temperature, here we are crossing maybe 800 Kelvin. So in this 800 Kelvin, below this temperature, when you are seeing this carbon graph is just above that of aluminium, isn't it? That meaning is it is less stable. But when you cross this 1000 Kelvin, so carbon becomes more stable, so that carbon can reduce the other metals. Is it clear? So this we can explain using some equation. So from that you can understand. So consider iron solid, so it is getting oxidized and forming iron oxide. So delta G value is minus 350. Okay. So next, the same we can write for carbon. Okay. So carbon minus 480 kilojoules per mole. Carbon monoxide. So here the metal getting oxidized, it is forming metal oxide, iron oxide. So delta G is minus 350. So here delta G is minus 480. So next what we have to do is we are writing this equation in the reverse. Okay, decomposition of metal oxide. So just we have to change. When you reverse the equation, delta G value should be changed in sign. So here minus 350, here plus. Now we are going to combine these two equations. 2FeO. So this 2C, this O2 and this O2 we can cancel. So 2C gives 2Fe plus 2CO. So here minus 480, here plus 350, isn't it? So that deviation is maybe minus 130. Okay. So next step. So this is for decomposition of two molecules of metal oxide. It is getting the delta G value of minus 130. So for the decomposition of one metal oxide, the delta G value is minus 65. So minus 130 divided by 2, it will getting the value of minus 65 kilojoules per mole. Okay. So this delta G value is getting negative. So only a small value, minus 60, minus 65 you are getting for the decomposition of one metal oxide by using the reducing agent carbon. Okay. So we can expect this reaction is delta G is getting a negative value. So this reaction is feasible one. Is it clear? So once again I am explaining the metal solid. We are taking example as iron. So when it is on oxidation, it is giving iron oxide. So delta G for this reaction is minus 350. So listen the next equation for carbon monoxide. So carbon on oxidation. So why we have written this carbon is, so we are selecting which reducing agent is suitable for this metal oxide. So carbon on oxidation, it is giving 2CO gas. Okay. So for this delta G value is minus 480 kJ mole power minus 1. So now what we are going to do is, so we have to select a reducing agent for the reduction of metal oxide. For the formation of metal oxide, delta G value is this. For the reduction of metal oxide, these values we can get from the graph. Okay. So then for the decomposition of metal oxide, the reverse reaction I have written here. So in this reverse reaction, delta G value is just change the sign, that is plus 350 kJ mole power minus 1. So now you have to going to combine these two equations, because for the reducing agent, for the reduction of iron oxide, we are using carbon as reducing agent. So when you are using the carbon as reducing agent, you are going to combine these two equations. So this oxygen and this oxygen will be cancelled, and finally you are getting the iron. Okay. So after reducing, you are getting iron solid. So here delta G value is minus 480 plus 350. The value is minus 130 kJ mole power minus 1. So it is for 2 iron oxide. If you need to calculate for the reduction of 1 iron oxide, it will be delta G is equal to minus 65 kJ mole power minus 1. Is it clear? So today in this then one more topic is there. We have seen observation. So we have seen the application. The last one is the book back question is given, that is, so when you are comparing magnesia and alumina. Okay. So when you are seeing this graph, otherwise you can refer page number 11. So see here, question is this magnesia, that is 2Mg plus O2 gives 2MgO. Alumina, the previous one, isn't it? So when you are seeing this two, so when you consider, the question is asked, so for the reduction of alumina, whether we can use magnesia, or for the reduction of magnesia, so whether it is possible for alumina. Okay. So both cases at the book back question, using Elingham diagram, explain. Question is asked using Elingham diagram, explain. So for the reduction of magnesia, it is possible for alumina can be used as a reducing agent. So see here, 2Mg plus O2 gives 2MgO. So just above alumina is given, isn't it? So one of the application I have said, so when you can see only these two lines. Okay. So in these two lines, so So which is at the lowest part? Formation of magnesium oxide, isn't it? Then which is stable one? Alumina or magnesia? So magnesia is stable. So up to this temperature, that is, it may be 1006, around 1500 Kelvin we can say. Okay. So below 1500 or 1200 Kelvin, what will happen? Magnesia is stable than alumina. So below this temperature, the graph of magnesia is just present below that of alumina, so that magnesium can be used as a reducing agent for the reduction of alumina. Okay. But above that particular temperature, 1400 or 1500 Kelvin, when you are seeing the graph, this magnesium line is just above that of alumina. Is it clear? So here this is the line of magnesia and this is the line of alumina. Then what will happen? So which is present at the lowest part? Alumina. Isn't it? So above that, depending upon the temperature, we can select different reducing agent. So beyond this 1500 Kelvin or 1200 Kelvin, this alumina can be used as a reducing agent for the reduction of magnesia. So if you are thorough with this Ellingham diagram, means if they have asked the question, depending upon that, using this graph you can write the answer. Okay. So see this carbon line, carbon is crossing nickel, iron, zinc, chromium, aluminium. So here magnesium till this. Okay. So this carbon can be used as a reducing agent. At above 1000 Kelvin, it can reduce all these metal oxides. Is it clear? So next we can see the limitation. So limitation of this Ellingham diagram is, so only we have seen the thermodynamic consideration, isn't it? If delta G is positive, negative, or depending upon that, we have seen only that thermodynamic consideration is given. So it is not explained the rate of the reaction. So whether the reaction is spontaneous or not spontaneous, depending upon the delta G value. So here we have finally for reduction of iron oxide by using carbon as reducing agent. So we have seen delta G value is negative. So we can say by using this reducing agent, reduction of iron oxide is the feasible one. Isn't it? So feasible or not feasible can be explained by Ellingham diagram. But it is the rate of that particular reaction, it cannot be explained by Ellingham diagram. Is it clear? So first limitation, what is it? So only feasibility can be explained by Ellingham diagram. It does not explain the rate of the reaction. Next, so this delta G value will be given under assumption. Exact value is not given. Okay. So delta G value under thermodynamic consideration, it is given only by assumption, not exact value is given. So these are the two limitations or drawbacks of Ellingham diagram. Okay. So once again, today's with this we can finish this lesson, first lesson metallurgy. Okay. So this thermodynamic principle. So only one key point you have to understand is this Ellingham diagram is useful for the so we are using for the selection of reducing agent. Okay. So this graph, what is Ellingham diagram? So Ellingham diagram is a plot of change in free energy to the temperature of formation of metal oxide is known as Ellingham diagram. So we have seen the four observations, that is why when slope is positive, in which case the slope is getting positive value, in which case the slope is getting negative value, in which cases when delta G becomes less negative or zero, that meaning that metal oxides are less stable. Then fourth observation we have seen phase transition. Some of the metal oxides, they undergo phase transition. Next we have seen application. So application, first point, that is mercury oxide, silver oxide, these can undergo decomposition even at 600 to 700 Kelvin. So in this temperature they can decompose easily at lower temperature. So So no need of any reducing agent. So second case we have explained for reduction of aluminium oxide or reduction of chromic oxide. Why we are using aluminium? Why we are using aluminium? In Elingham diagram, the graph which is present at the lower part can be used as a reducing agent for the metal oxide, for the graph which is present at the upper part. Okay, so you have to compare the upper part graph and lower part graph. Lower part graph, the metal oxide is more stable than the graph which is present at the above part. So here chromic oxide and here aluminium oxide is there, means aluminium can reduce this chromic oxide. Okay, so next we can see that is we have one more, this equation we have seen, isn't it, for theoretical data. Okay, so this iron solid oxidized into iron oxide, this carbon as a reducing agent, it is getting carbon monoxide. Then we have taken the reduction of metal oxide. So both the delta G value is we are getting minus 130. So for the reduction of 1 mole of iron oxide, it is getting minus 65. The delta G is negative. So we can say this reaction is spontaneous. Is it clear? Okay, thank you.